Joshua 6 1-18, through the Bible. Chapter 6. Theme: Conquest of Jericho. Now that we have come to the actual conquest of the Promised Land, let's look again at the events that led up to it. The children of Israel have now crossed the Jordan River in a most remarkable manner, and they have entered the land. The Jordan is a quiet little stream in the summertime, but it is a rushing torrent during the rainy seasons. As you recall, the Ark of the Lord, carried by the priests, went before them. The Ark, of course, represents the presence of Christ. When the feet of the priests reached the Jordan, the waters rolled back, then they stood in the midst of the river, with the Ark on their shoulders, while all the people passed over Jordan, and the memorial stones were set up. Now, the people of Israel are camped on the west side of the bank of the Jordan River. What a glorious, wonderful anticipation awaits them. This is the land God had promised to give them, a land of milk and honey. It is the land they have been told to possess. Obviously, their hearts are thrilled with it. Surges of anticipation and joy go through them. They have been conditioned for conquest by circumcision, which was the token of the covenant God made with Abraham. Part of that covenant was that they were to have that land. You recall that Joshua made sharp knives for the circumcision. What application does this have to your life and mine? To me, the sharp knives speak of the Word of God, which is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword. Hebrews 4:12. It is able to divide. In our country today, all the morality lines are rubbed out, but there is still black and white in the Word of God. We need to get back to Bible morality, because there is no blessing to this nation or any people until they come back to the Word of God. Another conditioning for conquest had been the vision of the captain of the hosts of the Lord. General Joshua is going to take orders from above. Now, the first step of conquest is Jericho, and we see that the tactic is to divide the land. By taking the cities of Jericho and Ai, the center of the land will be theirs, then they will move into the south. This method of dividing the land is a method that was followed, it seems, by great generals from that day to this. They divide the enemy, then take them piecemeal. It was used in the Civil War, in World War I, and in World War II. However, the method for taking Jericho would not be used again. Let's look at it. Now, Jericho was straitly shut up, because of the children of Israel. None went out, and none came in. Joshua 6:1. Jericho was prepared for the attack of the Israelites. They did not think the Israelites would arrive as quickly as they did, but they shut up the city, and prepared for attack. And the Lord said unto Joshua, See, I have given into thine hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor. And ye shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go round about the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days. And 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns, and the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times, and the priests shall blow with the trumpets. And it shall come to pass, that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when ye hear the sound of the trumpet, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall ascend up, every man straight before him. Joshua 6:2-5. The day comes for the beginning of the campaign. Joshua follows the Lord's instructions exactly. And it came to pass, when Joshua had spoken unto the people, that the 7 priests, bearing the 7 trumpets of ram's horns, passed on before the Lord, and blew with the trumpets, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord followed them. And the armed men went before the priests that blew with the trumpets, and the reward came after the ark, the priests going on, and blowing with the trumpets. And Joshua had commanded the people, saying, Ye shall not shout, nor make any noise with your voice, neither shall any word proceed out of your mouth, until the day I bid you shout, then shall ye shout. So the ark of the Lord compassed the city, going about it once, and they came into the camp, and lodged in the camp. Joshua 6:8-11. The city of Jericho is prepared. Undoubtedly, there are soldiers on the wall, and watchmen at the gate. The military brass, and its staff, are in the city, getting reports from the wall. Finally, the word comes, here comes the enemy. Joshua and the army of Israel are marching toward the city. In front of the procession is the ark carried by the priests, and the priests carry horns. A watchman on the wall cries, Here they come. Let's get ready. They apparently are going to attack at the gate. So the forces of Jericho gather at the gate. They are ready for battle, if the gate is broken down. Then a strange thing happens. The watchman calls down, they're not going to attack here. They made a turn, and they are going to attack at another place. So the army on the inside shifts, and I think, they march around on the inside. They are informed by those on the wall, they are here, they are here, they are here. The Israelites go all the way around, and instead of attacking, they go back into camp. You can be sure of one thing, there is a huddle that night, of the king, and the military brass. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and the priests, took up the ark of the Lord. And 7 priests, bearing 7 trumpets of ram's horns, before the ark of the Lord, went on continually, and blew with the trumpets, and the armed men went before them. But the reward came after the ark of the Lord, the priests going on, and blowing with the trumpets. And the second day they compassed the city once, and returned into the camp, so they did 6 days, Joshua 6:12-14. The next day, the Israelites give a repeat performance. The watchman on the wall cries out, "Here they come again." Then the Israelites march around the wall, and go back to camp. Each day, for 6 days, they do the same thing. By the 6th day, the midnight oil had burned long and late, in the Pentagon, inside Jericho. The army on the outside was tired of marching around the wall. Maybe, some of the children of Israel were saying, "What we are doing looks foolish." If you had asked Joshua why he was doing this, he probably would have replied, "I take my orders from the captain of the hosts of the Lord. This is what he has told me to do, and I am doing it." And it came to pass, on the 7th day, that they rose early, about the dawning of the day, and compassed the city, after the same manner, 7 times. Only on that day, they compassed the city 7 times, Joshua 6:15. So, on the 7th day, the Israelites march around the wall again. The people of Jericho heave a sigh of relief when they get clear around. The army inside the wall has made its circuit too, and is relieved that it is over for the day. Everyone sits down to rest, when all of a sudden, the watchman says, "Wait a minute, they are going to march around again." So, the Israelites make the circuit again. They do it a 3rd and a 4th time. And it came to pass, at the 7th time, when the priests blew with the trumpets, Joshua said unto the people, "Shout, for the Lord hath given you the city." So, the people shouted, when the priests blew with the trumpets, and it came to pass, when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city, Joshua 6:16-20. The walls of Jericho fell down flat. I had the privilege of going to Jericho with a very special Arab guide, who had worked with both John Garstang and Kathleen Kenyon. They had led archaeological expeditions in unearthing the ancient city of Jericho. Garstang and Kenyon disagreed as to the dates of the wall. But it had fallen down, and was flat, that was obvious. Since this Arab guide had worked with both expeditions, I asked him what he thought as to the date of ancient Jericho. He went along with Garstang, and his reasoning was that when Garstang got there, he was probably not as scientific, and didn't do quite the job that Kenyon did. Because he disturbed everything, it would be impossible for anyone to come later to arrive at an accurate estimation. Well, I'll let them argue that. All I'm interested in is that the Word of God says, the walls fell down flat, and the evidence is there today. The faith of the believer does not rest upon the shovel of the archaeologist. By faith, the walls of Jericho fell down, after they were compassed about 7 days, Hebrews 11:30. Jericho represents the world, to the believer. It is strong and formidable, and foreboding. The conquest depends upon faith. For whatsoever is born of God, overcometh the world, and this is the victory that overcometh the world, even our faith, 1 John 5:4. Hebrews 11 reveals how faith worked in all ages, in the lives of God's choicest servants, as they met the world head-on, and overcame by faith. We hear the song, Joshua fought the battle of Jericho. The question is, did he? No, he did not. He didn't fight at all. He just marched around the city. Who did the fighting? God did that, friend, and I think any other explanation is ridiculous. Some say that an earthquake took place at that psychological moment, when the priests blew the trumpets, and all the people shouted, and the shock toppled the walls. Others say, that the constant marching of the children of Israel around the wall, loosened the wall, and it fell down. Well, you can believe that, if you want to. I like it, the way it is told, in the Word of God. God got the victory, Israel got the possession. A great problem, that many believers have today, is that they are trying to fight the battle of Jericho, and overcome the world. But you and I need to start taking orders from the captain up yonder, the captain of our salvation. Now, notice two more things briefly. The first is that Rahab was spared. But Joshua had said unto the two men that had spied out the country, Go into the harlot's house, and bring out thence the woman, and all that she hath, as ye swear unto her. And the young men that were spies went in, and brought out Rahab, and her father, and her mother, and her brethren, and all that she had, and they brought out all her kindred, and left them without the camp of Israel. And Joshua saved Rahab the harlot alive, and her father's household, and all that she had, and she dwelleth in Israel, even unto this day, because she hid the messengers, which Joshua sent to spy out Jericho. Joshua 6:22-23, 25. True to their promise, they saved Rahab, and all her family, that was with her in the house. Note also, that Joshua pronounced a curse on anyone who would rebuild that city. And Joshua adjured them at that time, saying, Cursed be the man, before the Lord, that riseth up and buildeth this city Jericho. He shall lay the foundation thereof in his firstborn, and in his youngest son shall he set up the gates of it. Joshua 6:26. We will see, when we study 1 Kings 16, that Jericho was rebuilt. And the curse came upon the man who rebuilt it, and upon his son. Before we leave this chapter, notice the explicit command of God, as relayed by Joshua, was that nothing was to be salvaged in the city, but the silver, gold, vessels of bronze and iron, which were to be placed in the treasury of the Lord. No soldier was to take anything for himself. And ye, in any wise keep yourselves from the accursed thing, lest ye make yourselves accursed, when ye take of the accursed thing, and make the camp of Israel a curse, and trouble it. Joshua 6:18. We will see in the next chapter, that somebody snitched at the battle of Jericho.